Hey world, this PhysX Lumberyard tutorial will cover collision filtering. It'll familiarize you with the physics configuration menu, adding collision layers, and then setting up the rules for those layers in the collision groups tab. Hey y'all, welcome back to another Lumberyard tutorial. I'm John Diaz, tutorial designer on the Lumberyard team. This is Joshua Rainbow, one of the lead UX designers on the Lumberyard team. And sadly, this is the conclusion of the trilogy of the new physics integration. But I think there's a lot that you will take away from this one. So,
Yes.
Joshua,
Yes.
what is this magical thing that we now have access to called collision filtering?
Yes. So in most of our games, we're going to build up collisions as objects just one-to-one. So me and John are going to collide with one each other, but there may be a rule on top of it where I'm saying like, John and I collide together, but maybe a ghost comes through the room and he doesn't collide with either one of us.
Yeah.
So how do you set that up where you have specific things that can pass through walls, pass through objects, that allow through objects with having rules set for a larger scope of things.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and take you through this. So what we have here is we have a couple spheres. Both of these spheres have a collider object on it, and we have a rigid body physics object. So they're going to fall. They have collision objects information on it. So they're both the same.
If we run this,
You run the same, yeah. Let's actually, we don't have anything set up for the tree yet, but it should just
fall
hit the
through
ground.
tree.
Boom.
All right. So
So
all we have to do for the tree is add a physics collider.
yep, so we have you need to add a physics collider for the tree and then define what that physics collider shape is. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna add the physics collider objects. We're gonna actually use not a static shape that we have here. We're gonna use the physics asset, go down to PX Mesh, and I'm gonna search for my tree here. And I'm actually using tree 08, so I'm gonna scroll down to 08 here and go ahead and save this guy out. And then boom, you can
Nice.
see the collision object information for
You
this.
can see that pixel precise
Yep.
collision mapping.
So when I play this guy out now, boom, it's gonna hit the tree and roll down the side of the tree.
Perfect. I noticed you didn't have to add rigid body collision to
Right.
the tree.
That is because this is a static object. So rigid body is only for objects in motion or for movement. When you have something like a tree, a trash can, or whatever is going to be sitting there without having to be pushed on, you're going to go ahead and just leave it as a static object.
That makes sense, man. So for optimizations, static objects that don't have any real gameplay movement, they don't need rigid body physics. They just need a collider.
Right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come up here to our new tool, which is Tools, and it's under Preview, which is Physics Configuration. This is a completely new portion of our app.
Okay.
What we're going to do is actually we're going to focus on today layers and collision groups, but there's other extra features here under the global configuration and the debugger. So what this actually is going to do, two parts for us. Layers define a bigger subset of information. So you want to think of these things not as individual pieces, but as large scale groups. So a layer would be a set of trees or eight trees. If you have a car game, like it's a bunch of cars, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to talk about collisions with players, you'd say these are the player layers, right?
Yeah.
The collision groups are going to focus on how those layers interact with one another.
So the rules.
So the rules of how those things are actually going to do. So you can see that we already have two rules here. One is I collide with everything and I collide with nothing. And that's currently what you would see if you went into any of these objects. You'd see that I collide with all, which is your all here, or I collide with none, which is I don't hit anything at all.
Okay, so in the collider component, you can see the collision layer maps to one of the layers you defined.
Right.
And what the collides with is the rule, right? So collision group rule that you want to apply to it.
Correct.
Okay, so how will we add new layers?
So you want to come over here and actually we have a set of 64 layers that you have available to you to use in any fashion you'd like. We're going to go ahead and actually create a scenario for me and you. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a tree. We're going to have maybe a bad and good guy, or maybe let's say like a ghost and I don't even know, a bird or something.
Okay.
So let's say this is the bird layer because we have a group of birds. We have a ghost layer, which is our white ball, and then we have a tree layer. Now, one other thing you may want to think about, and it really depends on how you want to deal with ground. Say you have mesh objects, you can use terrain as an object too. So if you have boulders or rocks and you want those things to collide with. In our current scene, I'm going to just treat the ground as like an all scenario.
Yep.
So I'm not going to mess with it at all. So currently now, if I switch back over to collision groups, you're going to see that actually those are showing up at the top.
Great. Every layer is mapped to your group, so
Correct.
now you can specify rules.
Right. So you're not going to be able to change these top two. These are actually kind of grayed out to show that these are not changeable.
Okay.
So these are your default rules. What you're going to do is actually push add, and you're going to create a new rule. And I'm going to say this is my ghost rule, right? And what I want to do here is I want to specify what things I want to not collide with.
Okay.
So if these are the all layers, and you can see they're checked, and this is the none layer, this is the stuff that's not checked, what you want to do is uncheck things you don't want things to collide with. So I don't want ghosts to collide with things. Well, great. Now I have a rule. Now I have some layers. How do I apply these rules to those things?
Yes.
So what you want to do is you want to come over to your object itself, and you're going to have a couple fields at the top, and you're going to say what this thing is.
Okay, so all of our new layers are automatically added.
All automatically added for you. And this one in our examples are a bird. And that bird is respecting with which rule. And the rule they want to use is the ghost rules. And same with this one. Which rule do we want to use? I am a ghost, and I collide with the ghost rule. And the other one we have left here is we want to just make sure we define the tree here. And we can have this collide with ghost rule. Now, the reason you'd want ghost rule to have the same rules as this is because if I have a tree and I set one rule saying I collide with everything, and then I set the ball that says I collide with only these specific things, if those two rules don't match, it's not going to collide. And so what's going to happen is it's going to look for a match between the two. So the tree is using the same rule as the ghost, so they have the same rules, which then allows them to apply to the same thing. If the two rules are using different rules, one may say, yes, I want to do it, and the other one may say, no, we don't. In that use case, we're going to always go with the one that says, one of you says you don't want to be collided with, so they're going to block it.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead and play this through and see what this looks like. So you can see, boom, I felt that the tree as a ghost, but my other one did not. Now that you have these rules set up, you can go through and make simple changes where I say, ghosts now do collide with it, and then I run it again, and boom, back to where you were.
All right, I can begin to see the power of this again, because this happens at the physics layer as opposed to waiting on an event to be fired every tick or something like that.
Right. So in most normal events, you would see like, did it hit? Did it hit? Did it hit? In this case, what it's doing is it's already presetting the rules up and allowing those objects to use physics to be able to drive that those interactions.
Yeah, it's just a bit that's on or off, and it knows, hey, pass through or don't pass through.
Right.
Awesome. That's super powerful. I can see moving forward, there's a lot of power there at runtime to be able to modify like what rules you follow, or even what layer you belong to.
Right. And I think moving forward, we have a lot of interesting things that we're going to be coming up to. So just look forward to some of the new collision groups, some of the extensions that we have planning on, because this is just the very beginning of all the cool stuff that we've got coming.
All right. Well, there you have it, guys. This is just the PhysX foundation. With every upcoming release, we're going to add more layers to it, and we're going to walk you through how to take advantage of that for your project. Josh, this is awesome, man. I think when I was running through it myself, I was having a pretty tough time, and having you come in here to break it down for us makes it a lot more accessible, easier to understand. So thank you. Thank you for your time.
I'm grateful to do it. Hopefully we can do a little bit more of these in the future to keep you guys on top of it.
Yeah, man. Don't be a stranger around here. Thank you, guys. Take care. Collision filtering is a powerful feature of the API that we've only just scratched the surface on. Look for this tutorial as well as the others to go into our physics playlist. Please look at the video description for links to the documentation as well as other handy information, including our social media, where you can participate in our community. Please leave a like if you found the video helpful, leave a comment with any questions that you may have, and as always, thank you for watching. I'm John Diaz, and I'll see you in the next Lumberyard tutorial.